Hi everyone, this is Astrology Secrets, and in this video I wanted to just give you some essentially ninth house wisdom before we go into the rest of the charts and how everything works. So to begin with, I want to tell you that depending on your sign, you may or may not want to learn your own birth chart, okay? Or you may or may not want to learn your family's chart, okay? So that's just some of the basics of astrology. Some astrologers will tell you not to learn your own chart. Okay, that's maybe someone who's got a really stacked ninth house, or a very strong, Sun or Saturn there. And if you look at the transits right now, Saturn is in the ninth house along with K2 and Jupiter and Sagittarius. So that's maybe one of the reasons I'm coming to you with this sort of ninth house wisdom right now. As astrologers will understand it, what the ninth house is. If you're just new to this, that's fine too. And basically what I'm getting at here is, depending on your moon sign, okay, and there may be a couple other factors, but mostly just your moon sign can determine whether or not you should learn your own chart and whether or not you should learn your family's chart. So the protocol I want to go with here is the safest way to go about learning astrology is just to learn other people's charts and do this for other people. Okay, that is the absolute safest way to do this because you're not going to have any sort of mental stress from understanding your own chart. And the reason I make this video is because a lot of people don't realize, they think astrology is a joke, and then they get into Indian Vedic astrology and they realize, oh shit, this stuff is real. And then when they do, they're like, oh no, my next year I'm going to be in the 8th house and I'm going to have some sort of event, and they start freaking out. So that's why in some cases it's better off, depending on your moon sign, because your moon affects your mind and your emotions. In some cases it's better off not to learn your own chart, or it's better off not to learn your family's chart. So like the highest sort of mental security protocol would be to just learn other people's charts and not include yourself or your family. Okay, now most of you are not going to do that. So the second protocol would be, depending on your moon sign, which I'm going to get to the signs in a second, but depending on your moon sign, you may want to just learn your own chart and other people's charts and avoid your family's charts. Okay, and then if you're really just not into this ninth house kind of rule system, just, you know what, go ahead and learn everything, including yourself and your family. Just understand that if you do that, the mental stress will be there once you really understand in depth what's going on. Kind of like, unless you're lucky enough that your family has sort of perfect circumstances, which never happens, then maybe you won't have to deal with that. But kind of like, I guess, how a surgeon deals with, surgeries on a daily basis. Well, if the surgeon was, oftentimes surgeons can detach from that, but if a surgeon was dealing with their own family or themselves, like, it's a lot more difficult. So that's kind of why I'm giving you this analogy. If you decide to learn your own chart and your family's chart, you have to be mentally prepared for that, because you will learn the good and the bad. And essentially, in most charts, there's always going to be some negative and some positive. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, the moon signs that I would suggest is, if you're a Cancer moon, okay, you're probably going to want to avoid looking at your family's chart, probably your own too. And now I understand that in most cases people are looking at their own charts regardless, so I do get that, and that's why the second protocol is what most people with a Cancer moon should follow. Okay, and now if you can, avoid your own chart too, but most people have already gotten into their own chart. So with a Cancer moon, I would suggest you just avoid looking at your family's charts. Okay, now if you have an Aries moon, again, well, I would suggest you to avoid your own chart, but you're gonna look at your own chart anyway. So go ahead and do that. Just avoid your family's charts, because that, again, the Aries moon, depending on its place, can bring some mental stress. Now Aries probably won't listen to this anyway, so you're going to do what you're going to do. But that's just my recommendation. If you happen to have the ninth house planets for it, avoid your family's chart, because those emotions will get a little bit whack if you don't. Okay, and then the last two places that should avoid their own chart or their family's chart would be Scorpio moons. Okay, Scorpio moons, again, this is a situation where you might end up learning your own chart anyway on your families, because Scorpios have to go through transformations. But if you can avoid it, just don't learn your family's chart, because again, the moon is in a harsh place, so we don't want to add any more mental stress. And the last moon placement that should avoid this is Mula. So that's a part of Sagittarius. And again, Mula probably will just do this anyway, because Mula wants the deepest truths. So the only sign that will probably listen to this advice may be the Cancer sign. So, but if you happen to have the planets for avoiding your own chart or your family's chart, then you know what, do that. As you learn this stuff, it can still benefit you a lot to learn other people's charts, and you can work with other people. You can either do this for your own benefit, like make it a business, or you can do it for their benefit, especially in just understand them and help them understand themselves. Okay, so most of you are on protocol 2 now, I'm assuming, and then the rest of you are, most of you are just not going to bother with this protocol, and then some of you are going to be on protocol 2, and a very small minority will actually take this advice to heart and then be on protocol 3. Okay, so thanks for that. Now let's get into the softwares to use to learn this. So first off, there's 3 softwares I would recommend. The first is what I've got open right here, which is Jaganthora. Okay, and the reason I would recommend this software is just because it's free and it does a good job. You know, it's not it's not the best Vedic software, but it's going to help you learn everything. And as you can see, the divisional charts are all here. You can learn all the divisional charts. You can learn all the dashas. And then you can also go into yogas, Ashtavarga right there. Okay, where's the yogas? In other strength. Okay, so yeah, here's all the yogas as well. So it really, Jaganthora tells you everything, and it's a free software. Okay, now by default, the planets Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are not visible. But if you look here, you can see Ashwani, that is Aries. So we know that Uranus is in Aries in the first house right now. Okay, so you can still read Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, but you're just going to have to understand what the nakshatras are. And actually, it tells you right here, abbreviated. So moon, for example, Rohini, which is Taurus, and right there, it tells you right there, that's a Taurus moon. Okay, just like for Pluto, we can see some Uttara Ashada, I believe that is, and Sagittarius. So we just look to Sagittarius, and we see that the number 9 is Sagittarius, and that's in the 9th house. So that would mean that there is Pluto in that 9th house. Okay, so now the other 2 softwares, if you have the money for it, Kala is a very good software. Okay, that is one that modern astrologers are starting to really get into, and it's really beneficial. So I highly recommend Kala, that software. I've used it and it's working well. In my later videos, you'll see me using other softwares, but right now, because of budget limitations, just for this computer, I'm using Jaganthora. Okay, and then the most practical software that the top astrologers that I know are using is called Parasha's Light. Okay, so if you can use Parasha's Light, use that. And then again, for most people just starting out, you're going to jump onto Jaganthora because it's free. Okay, so hopefully that gets you started. And then in the next videos, we'll go into houses, signs, planets, empty houses, nakshatras, and so on. Thank you. One last thing real quick is a quick last edit note. These placements I mentioned for the moon are for the Vedic system, okay, or your sidereal chart. So if you have, for example, a Leo moon in Vedic, but you had a Cancer moon in Western, I still think that's okay to learn Vedic astrology. Now, some people believe Western still has an influence. I feel like that's pretty minimal based on my studies as of now. So I would still recommend you make sure that it's the Vedic moon sign. Okay, so if you had a Vedic moon, if you had a Cancer moon in Western, you can still learn this, essentially, in most cases. Okay, so I just wanted to add that note just to clear that up. And please like, subscribe, and share this video, and I'll see you in the next one.